Hey guys, so just getting right into it. The big thing to talk about, obviously, with this chapter is that Izuku finally revealed everything to Class 1A, aka his classmates, while also having left UA with the express purpose of protecting them from being further inadvertently targeted through All for One's campaign in order to capture Izuku and obtain one for and just getting one for all back. Um, and at first, from the way this was and from the way it was done, like the way that Class 1A had learned Izuku's secret through the letter, I thought the way of doing that was a little impersonal at first, but after reading through the chapter again a couple more times, I realized how just classic Izuku this is. But by writing them this letter, he is being honest with them, but he's being honest with them in a way where he can also protect them and feel like he isn't burdening them on been burning them. Like with him, it's pretty much all about how, okay, I'm gonna let them know, but I pretty much won't put their I refuse to put their lives in any more danger, but or even burn them with the idea of trying to of helping me, but with so like to Izuku, he believes that just leaving is the only way he can protect them all now. And but the irony of this is that by distancing himself from them, Izuku is still placing this huge burden on their shoulders by making it out as if he doesn't have he didn't ever have any trust in their ability to help him to begin with. Everything that they've been through up to this point, it's basically he's kind of almost saying he's never really trusted them in some way, and and that's putting a huge burden on their and that's putting it in a way a huge burden already on their shoulders. Um, in to say that they can trust him in order to help them when they need it, but Izuku isn't trusting them to help him when he needs it. Like it's a two-way street thing. Like Izuku just feels he needs to take all the burden on himself, but without realizing that he doesn't need to rely on others. He does need to kind of he will face a point where he's going to need to rely on his friends again. Um, and although at the same time, considering the circumstances, it's one of those things where even though his intentions come from a good place, and he is being a little, and this is kind of just the biggest flaw with him. His actions aren't unfounded either, and since we went through another time skip by the end of the chapter, I think the one key thing in order to take away from pretty much that letter that Izuku left Class 1A is that it could have very much motivated Class 1A in order to get stronger and prepare for what's to come. So one thing I think I'm going to keep my eye on past this chapter is how that inevitable reunion pans out, because yeah, I'm pretty sure it goes without saying that they will have gotten stronger after this point for sure. And I absolutely love the last page where we see Izuku, who's practically got the look of someone who's dead inside and saying a giant villain, which is just a beautiful parallel to the first chapter where Izuku had so much more hope and optimism and just wanted so badly to become a hero, compared to now where his experiences from the war and everything he's done up to this point has kind of hardened him. And I do like the idea that the final arc of the series begins in a very similar way to how the series began. Also, I don't know how much of it was intentional, but just from how it was structured, I felt the chapter's narrative was being. I really like how it felt like the chapter's narrative was being told from Izuku's point of view through pretty much the letter. Like everything that is being told to us in this chapter is through what Izuku's telling Class 1A. I don't know if that's actually what happened here, but it almost kind of feels like it at times. Um, on top of all that, however, this chapter was a big revealing moment for society as a whole, and to a degree, I understand their outrage. Villains have in fact taken over society. Hero population is shrinking, and they just feel some modicum of safety. I get that part wholeheartedly. But at the same time, the rejection of Endeavor and Hawks, I feel, exposes the biggest fallacy about this world of heroes, which is that they never like people in this world. They never wanted heroes to begin with. They wanted superpowered soldiers, people who would smack down and destroy evil in the world because they didn't want to get their own hand, because they were either afraid or just didn't want to get their own hands bloody. On top of that, we also see just the cynical expectations of the populace after Endeavor and Hawks' past actions were revealed. And don't get it twisted. What they did was, in a simple word, wrong. Like Endeavor's past is definitely horrid. There's no denying that. But Endeavor himself is still grappling with his own horrific past actions. But at the same time, the reaction from the people shows just how much they demand perfection from the heroes. Like, not a single flaw, big or small, is allowed. Like, the heroes have to be absolutely perfect in order to overcome the villains who are just scum, flawed, that they don't deserve to be a part of society. But here's a little inside info for people, for pretty much all these people. You know what these flaws make the heroes? Human. Fucking human. They have emotions. They make mistakes like everyone else. But they also learn. And they try to become better. But to society, this society, no flaws are allowed. Because it doesn't meet their standards of what they expect and what they want from heroes. And I honestly, I can't help but feel that this is, like, Horikoshi's done this a lot. And I definitely feel it more here than ever before, that this is Horikoshi basically putting a mirror in front of our own society as well, and saying, yeah, this is kind of what that we are like as well. Maybe not as over the top, but there's no denying that the humans as a species do tend to demand a certain high ethical standard that can at times be impossible to reach unless you were created as a near perfect being, almost like near God, basically. So yeah, but so I feel that if anything, this is really touching on the flaws of human. This chapter really touched on the flaws of human nature, if nothing else. With that said, even though Endeavor didn't fully regain the people's trust, he did still manage to instill a small enough spark to ward off full-on distrust, which didn't fall under Toya's radar, with Toya right now, and just what he says in this chapter, it really makes me wonder what he plans to do now. Because if he's planning to push things even further than they already have become, then what the hell more can he do? Like, honestly, if nothing else, Horikoshi has really made me fear how much of a chaotic individual Toya has become. And honestly, you can tell with so many heroes gearing up for a final showdown that we really are reaching the penultimate climax of the series. And the funny thing is, everything that's going on in this chapter, just pacing wise, should feel rushed, but it's not. It feels like we're riding on the most natural wave to the finale. Like there's barely if any part of this chapter that felt like it was rushing through the content, but this just felt like it so naturally flowed. Like I'm kind of having a lot more trust in Horikoshi's ability in order to end this, honestly, in a satisfactory way. The only thing I'm kind of curious about with this chapter is where exactly is Bakugo? They didn't really address what he's doing right now, but that's really about it. Like I'm kind of all I'm geared up for the finale. I'll say that much right now. Um, and yeah, I guess the long-awaited question has finally been answered. Inko is alive, which yeah, I'm glad I can finally breathe easy again on that one because it was kind of tearing me apart not knowing what happened to her. And I like how even though it's only a small moment seeing her with Mitsuki, Bakugo's mom, it does kind of silently show just how I do like how it does silently show how they interact with each other and a little bit of their relationship and how it's a little bit. I think it's good to say it's a little bit more reserved than the relationship between their sons, but you can see it's just a little bit of a friendship there for sure. Um, but honestly, by far the weirdest goddamn moment in this chapter for me was seeing Genius without something covering his mouth. I mean, I don't know why, but he just feels so naked without his costume on. Like, just seeing his just seeing his mouth alone, it feels so goddamn unnatural for some reason. Although it is still pretty hilarious to see his suit collar extend all the way up his neck. Like, yeah, yeah, Best Genius. The French dude's a bit of a thick neck boy for sure. Like you gotta wonder which tailor custom made that for him. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. Dead Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.